What up, world? What did you drill on the mic, chopping and screwing it? Because Bandai has officially released the rule set for the next batch of Ultimate Cups, and it's going to be one colored based decks. And yes, guys, that means I can't use my Jesmon deck, which I've been absolutely blinging out for this actual event. So it a little bit stings to be having to go to the old faithful, which is going to be the red hybrid. So if this is the video for you as I go over what I'm doing with this deck, the sauce, the spice and everything nice, then make sure you stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, make sure to subscribe and to the notification bell. We are climbing up the ranks in terms of obviously the subscribers, you know, joining the family. We're really smashing it, guys. So do me a solid and just smash that subscription button if you do enjoy the content, because I've got some good deck profiles for you that you might want to take to your Ultimate Cup near you. So, Red Hybrid. Yes, we're going back to the old faithful on this one because Red Hybrid is just ultimately solid. It's really heavy on the aggression, and there's like stages of aggression that you can take this deck. You can go full OTK, but unfortunately we can't use Omnimon because it is a white card. So it has to be basically all red, or if it's a dual color, it has to have that color with like contained in it. So say if I had a black red or red black, then I'd be able to use that card because my egg is also red and it's all good. But Red Hybrid doesn't really have that issue. It's all red and all fits in its archetype. So let's just start off with the eggs as standard. You know, we're bringing it back to the old Demi-Meramon. I mean, it's just solid when attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player. Gain 1000 DP. We're swinging for face. If you don't know Red Hybrid is going for your soul when it's going for that meaty swing. So we just run 4 of that. We don't need anything else. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Going on to the rookies. So rookies is a little, the ratios are really unusual with hybrids because your tamers also act as rookies as well, because you can evo on top of them when you go into your champion level. So we do run 10, and the reason why we run 10 is because ideally we just want this Flamemon in the stack, like ultimately in the stack easy, because the main thing that you want to do is ensure that you've got piercing. So if you was going to be blocked, you can just go straight through the opponent, no problem. And the condition is pretty easy. As long as it's a hybrid or 10 warrior in its traits, you're going to get that piercing. So ideally you do want to be running that 4, and this is definitely the first Digimon that you just want to get in raising ASAP. Then we do have our BT4 Flamemon. This is just obviously your key searcher. Real top 3, add 1 Digimon card with hybrid in its name, in its form, or 1 red tamer, or and 1 red tamer from amongst them. So really good. You can net 2 cards. Really efficient card here. Ideally, you know, if you got this in your starting hand and you've got no tamers, bang this out. Most likely you're going to grab some targets quite easily. So definitely run that 4. And then we do run the BT7 Flamemon. Once again, absolutely one of my favorite alternate arts. The reason why I'm only using this at 2 is because even though it's got a bigger dig of reveal 4, you can grab a card with Red Hybrid its traits, and also, or a Susanamon, but we can't use Susanamon because it is a white card, and or you can add 1 Takuya Kombara. So, because ideally we are going for that kind of OTK strat mostly, I feel like we can't necessarily get our Ancient Greymon, and that's the issue in this current ruling, is that we can't use Pokemon. Unfortunately, Pokemon is a white card. So I feel like this, even though it can grab hybrids quite efficiently, we can also risk actually not getting our Ancient Greymon being one of our primary win conditions. So we have knocked that down to 2, and then we have essentially supplemented that with our red memory boost, so we've actually just maxed that out, because that is going to be one of the cards that are going to be driving us a lot of memory to just do that massive big burst turn, and that's going to essentially, hopefully, act as our like hybrid for game. We need to ensure that we have 2 memory, and if we've got a memory setter out, we're pretty much laughing. But with the decks that are not really necessarily affected by the ruling, so we've obviously got Bloom Lord, we've got Blue Flare, really heavy contenders which still just run so smooth, we still got to compete with those decks. And Bloom Lord by far is the most efficient deck. I've never seen that deck brick, to be honest. So we need to make sure that we can kind of keep up with the pace. So that concludes with our rookies. We are running 10. So going on to the champions. So champions running 11. We are running the BT4 Agumon at 3. The reason why is because ideally, you know, we do like a good 2 Evo cost in raising. It's really good. Nothing's worse when you're kind of flooded with Burning Greymon. It's great Evoing on top of a Tamer. It costs 2, but Evoing in the back, it costs you 3, and it can be a little bit wounding. So this is just acting as one being one of our targets, another being hybrid for game as standard. You know, it's infamous for that. So we do run that at 3. Then, like I've mentioned, Burning Greymon, absolutely stellar card for just controlling floodgates. We do want to be controlling floodgates in this because we don't want to be memory blocked, and Burning Greymon just is perfect for getting rid of those, because you may digivolve this card from your hand onto a red Tamer as if it was a level 3 Digimon for the cost of 2, which is perfect. That means when we go to our Takuya, happy days. And then when digivolving, if this card has hybrid in its traits or Takuya, in the dissolution cards, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. So once again, really good in getting rid of those floodgates. Another good thing about Burning Greymon is that it can evo on top of a level 4 for the cost of 1. So that can essentially act as like our draw engine a little bit if we're in raising, and also it actually helps our Ancient Greymon do more security checks because it's just essentially an additional hybrid in the stack, which is really, really strong. So we do run that at 4. You definitely do not want to be running that at less. And then the boy that you want to get in raising for sure is going to be a promo Agumon. Honestly, absolutely flawless. This is an excellent card for that early aggression, also for obviously achieving that OTK when you are going into your Ancient Greymon, because when attacking, this Digimon can digivolve into an Ancient Greymon in your hand for a memory cost of 2, ignoring its dissolution requirements. So when you're attacking, then you evo into Ancient Grey, you pay that 2, and you're cooking on gas. Then if it does delete its Digimon at the end of turn. So this also goes well with the Ancient Greymon on deletion effect, so that you can play a red hybrid of level 4 or less, which is just great, really good for consistency. On top of that, which is really good, is it's inheritable, is that it enables you, if you're digivolving, when digivolving this Digimon into Ancient Greymon, in your hand, reduce the dissolution cost by 2, so making Ancient Greymon evo cost of 3, which is very strong for this particular Digimon because it just swings so heavy. Depending on the board state and, you know, how far the opponent is, you can comfortably just kind of evo in the back into your Ancient Grey, give your opponent 5, depending on what memory they've got for you. If you've got your memory setter out and you're in Aldemon, evo into Ancient Grey in the back, at least then you can kind of guarantee that you're can successfully go hybrid for game. If you've got your memory boost set up, then you can effectively go out, evo into Ancient Grey, pop a memory boost, so then at least you got memory to kind of, once again, hybrid for game. But this is just really a strong card. This is one of the cards that you just want to get in raising. And as well, if you kind of want to go really aggressive, you know, you could slap on some Atomic Infernos, then go for the swing, making your Ancient Grey just swing so aggressive on turn 2. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, the versatility that this card offers this deck. So that concludes for the champions, rocking that at 11. Going on to the ultimates. So ultimates, ideally, let's just go over the key card that you want to get in your stack, and that's going to be your Aldemon BT7. This is just honestly the best card in the deck. The fact that it's inheritable basically enables you to have a delicate plan, because you don't trip any security effects on option cards. Absolutely flawless. This just makes Ancient Greymon just an absolute menace, especially when you're versing like security control. You just can't trip any options, which is just huge, especially in this particular rule set. A very powerful card. Even if you want to use this in aggressive nature, you can obviously use its kind of when digivolving effects and so forth. So when one of your Digimon with a Tamer in its dissolution cards digivolves into this card from your hand, reduce the memory cost by 2, effectively costing you 1, meaning that you can just really turbo up into your ultimate. Then when digirolling, if this card has hybrid in its traits, in its Digivolution source, then this Digimon gains 4000 DP for the turn, which is really strong, because say if you was going to evo into Ancient Grey, if you're having your member setup, or going into your Emperor Grey, that does carry over, which just makes that swing even better. Just going through that, yay! That's what you want to be doing. But ideally, you want to be kind of chilling in raising, putting this on, and then once you're ready to pop out, really utilizing that inheritable. That's the source, guys. That is definitely the source. So you want to be running that at 4. That's the one that you want to obviously get in your raising. Then let's go over to the spicy text here. So we do run the classic Metal Greymon Alterius mode. I think this is once again still a solid card for this particular deck. The reason why is more the inheritable, enabling you to get an additional 2000 DP is huge, and it also still counts to Ancient Greymon's additional security checks, because as long as it's got Greymon in its name, you get that additional security check, which is just really, really strong, meaning that your Ancient Greymon is going to be swinging for like 16k, and this you can keep on stacking as well. So if you've got 2 Alterius modes, you can literally stack them both, which is solid. The when Digivolving effect doesn't really necessarily come up unless you evo into your evo on top of this one with another Alterius mode. That would rarely happen, in all honesty. So ideally, this is essentially if you just kind of wanting to top deck something, get an additional draw. This is what you can do here, because obviously you can evo on top of level 5 for the cost of 1, which is pretty nice. So we do run that at 2 as more of a tech. And then as a nice little additional tech, I still value this card a lot, and it's going to be your BT4 Aldemon. Really strong, because natively it's just got security attack +1, which is beautiful. And then on your turn, whilst this Digimon has, whilst this Digimon Digivolution card includes a Digimon with hybrid in the form or a red Tamer card underneath, it gets 4000 DP, making it really strong. Obviously, depending on your board state, if you have a memory tamer out, if you have your red memory boosts, if you have some atomic infernos, you can be really quite heavily aggressive on this, especially if you have your Takuya underneath. Natively you kind of going to be getting 3 checks. Atomic Inferno, 4 checks, slap another one on, 5 checks. So really, really powerful card. You do run that at just 1. Ideally, it kind of sucks if you're evoing this in the raising, but it is another target that we can actually hunt out there. But realistically, we are hunting for this one. This is the one that you definitely want in your raising area. So that concludes for the ultimates. Then let's go on to the megas. The boy is coming back out of play. He's an absolute menace. So strong, and I think in this format, it's just going to be really good. It's going to be really good. I don't know how it's going to do when it comes to facing off with, say, All-Force, because All-Force can block / evade, which can kind of stop it a little bit. Drop it in the comments if I got that completely wrong, but I feel like that's probably one of the matchups where it might be a little bit tricky. But luckily enough, we can go other avenues. We can just be heavily aggressive with our champions. So we've got different ways. It's like we can't solely just go on the full OTK, but we've got so many different channels to adapt to our board state and what the opponent's doing. We can be very adaptive. But if we want to go for the full-on OTK source, this is your boy best in slots, because your turn for each Digimon card in the Digivolution source with Greymon in its name, other than all that jazz, Doxdora Grey, Burning Grey, or Dexdora Greymon, or hybrid in its form. So obviously we do run Burning Greymon, but because it's actually got hybrid in its form, it actually counts. This Digimon gains security attack +1, which is really huge for each card. So that just, once again, you could just make sure that you just stack in this bad boy up. If you're versing security control, you just kind of look at their security and go, right, how many hybrids have I got to stack up before I just plow through all of that, which is strong. And then on deletion, you may play 1 red level 4 Digimon card or lower with hybrid in its name, hybrid in its form, should I say, from your hand without paying its member cost. beautiful. That's just great. Obviously, you can slap down a searcher, keep that going. Really, really powerful card. Absolutely strong. We've not had another Ancient Greymon yet, and I don't think we even need one because that's just honestly great at what it does. So we do run that at 4. Then we're bringing out the Old Faithful. The Old Faithful here. So obviously we don't have our hybrid, our Blitz for game that we would have with Omnimon. It's just like that magic was just the source. It just really, really works well. So ideally, you know, we've still got our Blitz, but in a different manner. We have the Emperor Greymon, which actually works pretty well because when did you run? Game Blitz, perfect. And then once per turn, on your turn, when this Digimon is blocked, unsuspend it and gain 1 memory for each Digivolution card in this Digimon's source that has hybrid in its traits, making it pretty strong for that crazy memory gain if you are blocked. Meaning that you've got 2 chances to swing for game in a sense if, like, you know, if the block is kind of like, what is the point? I am going to go and swing again. So really, really strong card. I think this has got quite a bit of versatility in this particular rule set format. Just because we do run obviously the Atomic Infernos, we can actually use it on this card, whereas we can't use Atomic Inferno on Ancient Grey because it's not a hybrid, which is really annoying. But with this, we can use it on this boy, which is really good because we can essentially fully exhaust our memory, doing Atomic Infernos, then just going for that big meaty swing, which is good, obviously, because it doesn't have security attack +1 natively. We have to essentially kind of get that applied on. So we do run that at 2. Nice cheeky tech. Obviously, if we do search off one of our Flamemon, at least we got something that we can actually utilize top end. If we don't bump into our Ancient Grey, and we have to just once again adapt. So that concludes it for the Digimon right there. Digimon, we are running 34. So let's go on to the Tamers. So this is obviously subjective to however you want to roll with it. I do like Tai just for the further additional security checks. Just like, even though obviously Ancient Grey has plenty of security checks, I do know, but if we once again have to adapt with our other, like, you know, Tamer going into obviously your champions, ultimate, so forth. If we can obviously stack up 4 Digimon within that, obviously this then initiates and we get some additional security checks, which is pretty nice and quite easily achievable. We can just stack up Burning Greymons to high heaven. So it is nice that obviously Tai can facilitate that, and also depending obviously if we do see a massive surge on Setcon, which obviously can recover quite efficiently, at least we've got this boy that can just help us just plow through the opponent a little bit more swiftly. Obviously you can switch it for hero if you want to, but because most of the high-end level 7s are pretty much all mostly whites. Obviously there is a few like Gallantmon, obviously you've got Bonds, top end stuff there as well. It's very rare that we kind of bump into a very high DP Digimon in security, but I could be completely wrong in saying that. But very, very solid choice here. Obviously a memory setter there as well, which is pretty crucial in this deck. You do want a memory setter. That just facilitates like you securing that hybrid for game, which is perfect. So we do run that at 3. Once again, you can flick it between hero if you want. It's completely up to you. Then we do run the 4 Takuya. I think this is a very solid card here. This obviously acts as essentially like one of our rookies as well. One thing that we were kind of wanting with this deck is, like, you know, making sure we get the worth from our security. Just like getting Tamers out of security for free is just the absolute source. It can really just shatter a complete game plan. So with this, obviously Proctum security, it just gets played without paying anything, which is sick. And then once per turn, you can essentially pull 5 cards from your trash with hybrid in its name underneath that card, and then you can either digivolve into Emperor Grey or don't digivolve at all, and then just literally continue your normal climb in that sense. It's a really weird interaction, but it is legal, being the main thing. So you could stack all your sources up to 5, don't play Emperor Greymon, Evo into your Burning Grey or Agunimon, go into your Aldemon BT7, and then go into Ancient Greymon if you happen to have enough memory. Ideally, if you can get at least around about like 2 to 3 promo Agunimons in this actual stack, you can essentially get into Ancient Greymon for free. And well, effectively it will cost you the cost of free, because obviously you got to evo from Burning Grey to then an ultimate and so forth. So really cool interaction. Does it come off that often? Probably not, but Ultimate Cup might surprise us. It might surprise us right now. Then the Inheritable is also spicy, so this Digimon gains 2000 DP, which is beautiful. And then whilst this Digimon has 10,000 DP or more, it gains an additional security check. So perfect right here. This is like adds a bit more spice to our Emperor Greymon. Like I say, it doesn't have innate additional security checks, so this actually just kind of helps that, doing 2 checks. If we do have our tie out, 3 checks, so forth, and then we can not necessarily use Atomic Inferno. Well, we can use Atomic Inferno. It really depends, obviously, about how you doing the play. But really solid. We do want that at 4. Once again, trip it in security, perfect. Then going on to the options, so we do run the free Atomic Inferno. This is just such a powerful card. It's so nutty. Like, this could sway games. It's swayed a lot of games in the past for me. So this right here, for the 1 cost, which is once again cracked, main. One of your Digimon with hybrid in its form gets 3000 DP. Pretty huge, obviously, with all the interactions of what our Tamer's doing and so forth. You know, it's just facilitating us reaching those thresholds to trigger those effects. Then get an additional security attack on top of that. Aggression. Absolutely aggression. And then on top of all of that, if it couldn't get any better, your turn, when this Digimon is blocked, gain free memory for the turn, which is just once again pretty nutty. Like, ideally you just don't want to be blocking against it. One thing to add is that essentially this wouldn't class as if the attack is redirected, so you will not necessarily get the free memory on that, because technically it's not a block. You're not blocking, you're just kind of redirecting my attack to hit said opponent. So you would not get that, but obviously you still get the 3000 DP in the additional security check. But if tripped out in security, all being quite important here, of your Digimon gain security attack +1. So all necessarily means that it's like a blanket effect. So say if it wasn't even in play and I happened to evo in from my Tamer to Burning Greymon, that now has additional security checks. That's doing 2 checks. It's pretty crazy how this can really like add so much aggression early on. Like if I had essentially promo Gunimon in the back, they tripped out into Atomic Inferno from security. I push out, go into my Ancient Grey. Ancient Grey is just doing mass amount of checks. It's doing 4 checks. It's doing obviously its check, and then getting an additional security check from this one, your promo Goonie and Flame underneath. 4 checks based. That's like a hard punish, which is crazy. Really strong card there. Do run that at 3. I think this will help us kind of adapt a little bit better to certain matchups. So that's the reason why I'm running it. Nice little tech with in terms of Crimson Blaze. I think Crimson Blaze is still heavily important in this meta. Obviously getting rid of wide boards is pretty crucial, especially once again Bloom Lord. I really feel like that's going to be rife, just because once again it's not being affected by the rules at all. So I really think it's going to be a very solid choice to tech in here. Obviously it stops cards being played by card effects, which once again is pretty huge, and obviously it just flat out deletes 6000 DP or less, which once again banging. So we do run that just at 1, and then we do run the red memory boost at 4. I think this is just a really key card for consistency, because we can't essentially search out Ancient Grey. We need a card that can do that. So this is essentially acting as our Pokemon in essence. But the good thing about this is that it acts as a nice little cheeky memory boost there as well. That memory gain delay is just going to be good for our maximum pop-off turn, so ensuring that we're not going to get choked. We have great ways to get rid of floodgates just natively in this deck. So really solid here. Like, you could run it at 3 if you want to, but I feel like, you know, even just having this tripped out from security is huge. That's literally like a free evo, which can be pretty massive in this deck, or, you know, giving us more choices to slap some Atomic Infernos and going with a heavy punish. So yeah, definitely a really solid card there. Run that at 4. And then lastly, just for some drip, we do run the Gaia Force. I think Gaia Force still got a really solid place. Obviously, we do have like cards like Magma Bomb, which works just equally as well, but it is quite situational. This deck doesn't necessarily so much interact with the opponent's board. You're more trying to interact with the opponent's face. So Magnum Bomb, it will be, you won't be able to get rid of the big threats unless you're attacking into them somehow, and they would have had to attack into you in order for you to swing into them. But obviously Gaia Force is just helpful for us to just pick a Digimon that we just want to get rid of. So, you know, Bloom Lord, just want to get rid of that for sure. Not that down. All Force might be a bit more trickier on that front. Ideally with All Force, you just need to clap it before it claps you. On that sense. So we do run that at just 1. So that concludes it for the deck profile of Red Hybrid. Tell me what you think, guys. I'm kind of happy to kind of revisit Red Hybrid. Red Hybrid is one of those ones that I'm looking forward to running in BT12. Really looking forward to running in BT12. So to actually kind of rerun it again in possibly in the Ultimate Cup, it's going to be interesting. It is definitely be interesting. Definitely have to really thoroughly start testing out matchups with this list. It's still kind of the unknown. It really is the unknown of like what decks are going to be most used or most represented. I think once again, like I've mentioned throughout this video, I think Bloomlord's got a very strong chance in terms of taking it. It's so efficient at what it does. All Force has got good reign here. I mean, we still have Melga. Not Melga. Melga got hit badly. We still have Black War Greymon, but with that, the player's got to decide which bases are actually going to run. I think red base is still pretty solid. You could swap out the Yuyas for ties, be really heavy and aggressive. I mean, freaking hell. Imagine going through with the Gaiamon, yeet, absolutely cleaving through. That pretty much could OTK. That would be pretty solid. If you want me to do a deck profile of what I would, my rendition of Black War Greymon in the Ultimate Cup, drop it in the comments below. But guys, stay safe, stay fly, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you later. Peace.